the same tomorrow. So we always had the idea that we would work our hardest and do our best to manage what we have today, and hoping that it would take care of itself tomorrow. And that's really still our philosophy.
What advice do you have for someone going into business for themselves?
Oh, I'd probably be fairly counterculture, actually, just because of what I just said. I would not encourage someone going into business for themselves to take on a lot of debt. I would encourage them to try to start small and see if things work and pay off. Keep your day job while you're building your business if you can, or if you've got one spouse that can work while the other one is building. People would say I'm a risk taker. I actually got the Enterprising Gambler Award from LIBA one year. And I don't see myself as that, because that's how I don't view the world as a risk taker, I don't think. But I guess start small and measure your risk, and don't stick your neck out so far that it can ruin you, or that it can cause you a lot of stress, because there's enough stress in business the way it is, with all the hats you have to wear and all the things you have to learn. And try to do as much learning as you can to be able to do as much for yourself at the beginning, because I couldn't go out, I could not afford to hire everything I needed done. You know, from bookkeeping, I had to learn accounting. I had to learn computer programs. You know, computers weren't even in existence when I started. And I did my own taxes for a long time. All those things, I don't like to do them, but it's better to pay myself to do them in the early years than it was to pay someone else. So just those kind of expectations that you aren't going to be able just to do what you love and take any time off that you want, because that's unrealistic.
What about business in Lincoln? What insight do you have there?
Oh, I don't think it's any different than anywhere else. I think it probably offers more opportunity than maybe some rural areas might, depending on what kind of business you have. However, I have a niece in a town of 900 in the middle of Kansas, and she's got her own business, and she's just doing gangbusters. So I think it boils down more to the person and the work ethic and the management skills than it does the actual location.
What has been the hardest thing you've had to learn?
I'm probably still learning it. How to hire and fire. How to interview people and know if they're the right fit for the job. It's a very expensive test. And there's all kinds of legal restrictions on what you can and can't do. Nebraska's a pretty good state that way, that I think we're called a right to work state. So as an employer, that's a benefit, but it doesn't really make it less expensive when you make a mistake in thinking there's a lot of really nice people, but that doesn't mean they're right for the job. And I always get those two things mixed up. So that's the lesson I'm still learning.
What has been the biggest surprise for you?
The biggest surprise. Well, the biggest surprise is in how it's worked out. I mean, we didn't really dream this. We didn't really envision what it's become. So I think the biggest surprise is that it actually worked and is working.
Oh, very good. Do you enjoy it?
Well, what do you mean by it?
Everything.
You know, I'm really fortunate because there's a lot of, it's easy to focus on what you don't like or what's difficult instead of looking at all the things that work and are good. And so if I would focus more on that, I could say, yeah, I really enjoy it. I'm fortunate because my kids all work here. They work here because they want to, not because we have asked them to. They like being around each other. They all are hard workers, and they, I'm sure that that's not going to last. 3 of them are quite young, so I think as time goes on that may not be the case, but I'm really lucky to be able to occasionally bring lunch down and eat it with my whole family. There's 4 of the 5 are now out of the home, so it's not like I get to see them, but if I bring lunch down, then I get to eat with them. And just seeing, I guess, being able to kind of pick and choose what I do to a degree. There's a lot of things I still have to do that I don't really like, that are still too expensive to hire done, like a marketing department. And some of that I like, but I haven't had training for it. And as with everything in the business, I got to pick up some books, I got to watch some videos or take some classes or talk to some people, and then I can get that knowledge to carry it out. And I'm in the process of doing that right now. And that's the hard work, but it also rewards, and it's kind of fun. So yeah, every day is a challenge.
You mentioned that you're a family-run business. Can you talk a little more about that dynamic?
Yeah, my husband and I have always worked well together. He's the full-time coffee roaster. He makes sure everything works around here. He'll fix anything from a broken chair to a broken down vehicle, or make sure it gets fixed. He's a neat and clean person, so he keeps things tidy and organized. And I'm more on the creative side, so I'm always researching and venturing out and trying to get new ideas or new thoughts that we can apply in the company. So there's a good complement there. And then our oldest son is the general manager, and he's more strategic and has more of a mathematical and engineering mind. So he can build and run equipment that we don't have the capacity for. That's another good added benefit. And then Alex is our warehouse manager, and he really should be in sales, but he doesn't think so yet. He's 23. I suppose the day will come. But he likes to work. He loves to work, and so that is a good fit for him right now. I forgot the question.
Family dynamic.
Oh yeah. So the dynamic is I've got 2 older sons that are almost like 2 firstborns, and then 3 younger ones. And there are dynamics that one is to not see each other as brothers, but fellow employees, or especially little brothers, or not to see us as mom and dad, but as employer, or them as children, as employees. There's definitely things, obstacles that you sometimes have to take a step back and go, why is there this conflict? And it's usually because it becomes family instead of work. And we get along great as a family. When we're together as a family, there's not problems between us, so that's wonderful. But you know, it's just working together. Sometimes you just run into things that you don't agree on, and so, but I suppose it's that way whether it's employee or family, but it feels like it's a little more of a family dynamic at times.
Very good. So would you do it all over again?
You know, that's a good question. I could say I'm probably not far enough along yet with it to know. In another 10 years, ask me that question.
Speaking of future, what is your outlook? What are you guys looking at? Goals, future projects?
Well, I guess my vision for the future here is, as it's been in the past, inch by inch growth, where we're growing a little bit every year, and continuing to look for and find the niches that we can fill, that those kind of opportunities find us if we don't find them. So I don't know, I'd like to travel a little more and meet more people in the industries that we deal with, because I've had my nose to the grindstone for so long that I might talk to my nut brokers on the phone, but I haven't been to the walnut growers and the almond growers that we buy from, and where the cranberries get dried and things like that. That'd probably be my goal, to get out of the 4 walls and venture out, and then bring some ideas back with me. So.
Very good. Well, those are all the questions I have. I appreciate your time.